you have turned this into your vegetable and fruit.
We did. We tried to
trees.
keep it. I hate grass, Christina, with every fiber in my being.
Okay, saying that, here's what we've been walking on all this time. And how else could you manage all this splendor if you had grass to take care of on top of it?
Well, it would be a pain. This is an homage to the Brits. The Brits. I use a little different kind of stone than they do. A lot of British gardens, paths, and other things are stone. Driveways are stone. I just think stone is cool, and I hate grass. So anyway, back to the meadow. We do keep a section of grass, and we don't use chemicals. There's pollinators. There's clover. It's basically clover. Which helps in pollinating the fruit trees and the vegetables and things that are in the back. So that's why we want to keep it kind of, and I try to do a no-mow May. It's hard for me because it gets a little too wild, but I try to keep it, I mow sparingly in the early spring.
So this is a suburban home.
This is smack in a village setting.
In Hamburg, which is about 15 miles south of Buffalo.
Correct.
And, it's suburban. Most people have a garage, and I know you do up there, but you have outbuildings back here.
Well, I have a barn.
This is your barn, which you told me yesterday you're going to expand this week.
Yep, a little bit.
Congratulations. And let's look over here, because I love this part, because one of the things I used to have was a greenhouse. So there was always a place where I could make a mess and not have to worry as I potted and repotted. But you've created this gorgeous little potting shed, and I love everything about it. And you have plants in here. You've got strawberries for next year.
Yep, those are going to get planted in the fall. They're just kind of getting them to size. I've got some cornichon that I'm going to be planting, which is a pickle, a cucumber, to the right. And there's some other plants. There's a crinum, which are two crinums, which are a brand new bulb crop for me. That's going to be a bulb that's going to overwinter in the garage and come out next year, kind of like the agapanthus we talked about. So it can be a combination of what I would call a hospital for plants that need a little help. It's beastly hot in the summer in there, as you know.
Yeah.
Luckily, I've got a tree over top, which helps a little bit. But classically, this structure is a cold frame in the spring for me.
Great.
Propagation in the basement, seeding, cuttings in the basement, those kinds of things. They get to a certain size, they need to get out. All of my cold crops, the brassicas, the cauliflower, broccoli, all those things. Those come into the greenhouse to harden off at about 40 degrees. And they go out in the yard. So this flow, constant flow from basement, greenhouse to the yard.
And just for fun,
we have chickens too.
We have chickens too.
And the chickens were the motivation from day one to really develop the suburban farm we have.
So it didn't come from your love of plants and gardens? It came from the chickens?
The motivation to produce food.
Food, okay.
And a lot of it. Meaning 150 pounds of potatoes that are right in my backyard.
So let's walk back and sit on your deck and finish this conversation. But wait, before we go, I just have to show people, being Irish, I always brag about my oxalis. Yeah, I look like a piker. Look at this thing, it's gorgeous. All right, so we're going to, parsley? Carrots?
So that's about 150 carrots right there.
You exhaust me. All right, so.
And that's my second carrot crop.
All right, so we're going to go and do our 2 questions to grow on as we come back to your porch. Do you ring this?
This is a chime. It's a wind chime.
So you're our 9th.
Wonderful.
Our 9th edition, our 9th volume, whatever. And most of the gardeners we've gone to have a lot of stuff, which I love. I'm a stuffer, right? We talked about this yesterday in your gardens. There's plants. And there's vegetables, and there are fruit trees, and a minimalist in the stuff department. Why is that? That's your personal preference, but why is that?
I appreciate people that like to collect stuff. Baubles, gym cracks, and whatever we're calling them. Gewgaws and gym cracks sometimes.
Gewgaws?
Gewgaws and gym cracks is what the South calls baubles.
Okay.
And I apologize. You're going to sit on a wet chair.
That's okay. I'm good with
Maybe
wet.
It'll cool you off
It will cool us. So I'm going to bring this closer, though, if you don't mind.
Of course, yep. I can speak loudly, too.
And that's great. Okay, so now we are, and I'm just going to give them a view of this gorgeous. Do you eat out here every night?
Oh, we're having a dinner party on Monday with 15 people.
Oh, what time? I'll be there. So let's go back to... we always, first of all, you are remarkable. I just am so This is, when I think about Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, if this is what was created for them to exist in, I can imagine that they never wanted to leave. It's just so beautiful. So you are to be lauded because, as you said, hours and hours and gallons and so much more and cost. But it's your passion. And it's an amazing, amazing place that you've created here. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you. My neighbor called it a reference to Thoreau, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
yeah.
And you can
Walden.
understand if you've not truly ever experienced nature, whether it's in the form of a garden that someone landscapes and creates, or just out in a park or a mountainside or whatever, you can't appreciate how this changes everything within you. I think we talked yesterday. I told you some Wednesday mornings I get up and I'm like, oh, last thing I want to do. But when I finish these garden interviews, there's a sense of peace and an appreciation of beauty that never fails to inspire me. And this will inspire me for a long time. And you will inspire other gardeners. We're not going to be able to do this, but we will take inspiration from what you've done. So in that, in our 2 questions to grow on, what are 3 plants? And we're not going to say flowers, but we're going to say plants that if you could only plant 3, you would choose.
That's easy for me because I think about this a lot. And we mentioned
You do
earlier,
think about it?
I think it all the time. Chris,
Why?
you and I talked a little bit about it. We've had thousands and thousands of people in our yard.
Yes, because you're in garden walks.
Yes, and we're in open gardens too. And thankfully, we've had some little play on some national stuff.
I can't imagine why.
But no one's ever asked me, and I give you a lot of credit because you've been a wonderful host. No one's ever asked me what my favorite plants are. And I will tell you, it's very simple. Number 1 with a bullet is a plant called Aurelia Sun King. And we walked past it in our little brief walk, in our stroll. It is a bright chartreuse shrub that works well in shade and sun. Never looked bad. It is deciduous, meaning it dies to the ground every year.
I'll take a picture of it when I leave so I can post it with this interview.
It's beautiful. And I've got it in 2 different places. It is the most spectacular, vigorous, easy to grow plant in the world. So again, Aurelia, and the cultivar is called Sun King. You see them in garden centers. They're very common now. They were not common 5 years ago. Very common now, prolific in how they're being distributed in this country. I believe it was an introduction from a guy named Dan Hines at Terra Nova Nursery in Oregon. Beautiful plant. So number 2 would be Calicanthus, which is called a sweet shrub, and it's called Aphrodite. And some of your viewers have heard of that.
I like the name.
And I can show you a picture of that. The main reason I like that plant is it's a very large shrub if you let it to be a large shrub, 12 plus feet.
Wow.
I don't shear mine at all, and I would recommend you plant it where you don't shear it because you want that full glory of the size and the kind of the grandeur of the plant. But it blooms for like 3 months. And it's
What kind of a bloom? What color?
Well, I'll show you. It's a burgundy flower.
Okay.
It's a very beautiful blossom. In fact, I mentioned before, I go to Lockwood's and Gullows and Murray Brothers and Henry's Gardens. We go to a lot of garden centers.
Sure.
There's wonderful garden centers in Western New York. Happened to be at Gullows. Pretty sure they had an Aphrodite a sweet shrub Aphrodite in their inventory, and this was on Sunday, I think.
Okay, so people could go to Gullows
They
and
could
ask for it.
literally go to a local garden center. I like Turnbull's Nursery in North Collins.
I would hazard to guess there's not a nursery within 15 miles that you have not been to plus.
Well, we don't get to too many of, like, in the middle part of, there's wonderful garden centers in Rochester, Sarah's, and Palmeters, and other places like that. But so many good garden centers in Western New York that you should go to.